We're just going live, Sovereign.
We're just doing it.
We're just doing it. We're live. And you know what? It's been a while. So we have some updates to give people. Many people have been part of our Brave New Life community that we organically, syntropically birthed, I don't know, over even longer, maybe 8 months ago.
No,
and
9 months and counting.
9 months, perfect gestation. And then out of that, we've birthed our Brave New Love. So we want to share that little piece with people of what's going on and give people an update on what's happening. You know, there's been a lot happening in the world, and it's been really intense for people, right? And many people have come to Brave New Life saying this is the nourishment, the oxygen that's helped get them through one of the most difficult years that I think humanity has faced during our lifetime, and probably, you know, all of humanity. But this sense of hope, these sovereign solutions, and this brave new love that has emerged for both of us is being, you know, is really, I think the best part of that is what I'm excited about, is how it's inspiring others to ignite that flame within them. So you want to share a little bit?
Well, I just had my own personal outcoming. I just published my my little newsletter for those that are on the list to receive that, and it was very nice to authentically be in tune and be real with what has been playing out for me, because I have had a very intense 1.5 years prior to today, and I've been on a big detox, so to speak, and it was really because love showed up. And the detox has been like this disengagement from the digital world in quite a substantial way to recalibrate and really reset the system. And it's been quite profound to have unconsciously, unawareingly, of course, I knew I was on a hero's journey. I didn't call it Brave New Life for no reason. I'm very much aware of that narrative playing out in all of our lives, and that courage is so relevant for us to cultivate through our willingness to become courageous, so that we can choose a different outcome, really, but a different life for ourselves. And in my experience, and what I wasn't aware of, is that I've been doing so much really for love to find me. And then it showed up. And so my focus has been on loving myself and coming home to self and coming home to love within, and marrying that sacred union within, resolving the unresolved with the primary he and the primary she, the masculine, the feminine, and coming into honoring and loving of and a harmonic relationship within myself to both those energetics. And as I felt really quite content within myself, I also dissolved this fantasy of wanting to find somebody here in Bali, because I've been navigating myself, a lot, engaging just in our online world, to be there for so many, and to also benefit from the processing that occurs naturally during our Brave New Life circles. And so I kind of decided, you know what, it's just not for me, and I'm content, I'm happy, I'm just gonna be me, have my little humpy and my little things that I like doing, and as I dissolve that, of course, then love has the capacity to just show up. And so it did, and it was rather profound, and it took, of course, some courage. I don't remember. Well, I do. The last time that I consciously made a move to what I would call kiss a girl was when I was probably 16 or something. Because after that, I lost that courage. I lost that innocence and that safety within myself. And what has happened is that I kind of just in the realm of the unspokenness would end up in some sort of form of romance or lovemaking, but it wasn't a sentence that was saying, I want to kiss you. And so that has been something beautiful to come to experience for myself in that very kind of natural way. And I'll put my little link for this newsletter in there, because some people may want to have the scoop. They may want to figure out what's all going on.
And
But then,
beautiful, Sovereign, is how our journey, our brave new lives, our heroes' journeys, heroines' journeys have paralleled, and that
I was just gonna say,
yeah,
yeah,
the synchronicity is incredible.
yes, it is. It's been quite unique, and I was surprised at one level that I wasn't alone. And
what are you doing there, Sovereign?
what am I doing here? Look at what is all going on here. I'll remove this for now, but I was going to treat you all to a little picture of what a brave new love experience. This is nice. I get an opportunity to do this. This is nice. I feel excited.
I love seeing you excited and in love. It's such a beautiful thing. And so if people are new to us, you can get on our mailing list. We're actually doing some revisions, branding. You're always branding something, Sovereign, but as far as reflecting where we're going with Brave New Life. So bravenewlife.net is where you can actually get on our mailing list, but Sovereign has his. Sovereign sharing, and you can put your website at Sovereign, where you have your course on syntropy, and then Mom Lucian, for those of you that are following me in the mastermind conversations, you can be on that mailing list at momlucian.com. So 3 different mailing lists that we're doing. And one of the things that's happening tonight, I just want to do a shout out with this update, is tonight I'm having a really, really important conversation, which is something that you and I came together around, Sovereign, as far as this energy of birth and consciously conceiving, but what's happening to the children and the youth, and this concern around fertility. So I'm hosting a mastermind on Dr. T and Dr. P's critical thinking show tonight. So it'll be Christian Northrup, Carrie Madej, Dr. Larry Pavesky, Sherry Tenpenny, and Maureen McDonnell so we'll be doing that, The Lost Generation, 7 p.m. tonight. And you go and register for that. You need to register. It's a little bit different than what we typically do, but go to drtenpenny.com and then go to events, and you'll be able to get the link for that. We will be recording that. We won't be streaming live on Earth Heroes TV, which is our uncensored platform where we put all of our content. But we will have it up there, Sovereign, right after the recording at some point, because it's going to be, I feel like it's one of the most relevant conversations of our day. There's so much talk about what's going on around the shot, and I think for us in this mastermind group, and I think, Sovereign, you're in alignment with this as well, as our focus is really on the children and the future generations and what we can do, what we need to do to secure that. This conversation for me around seeds and what we're planting and what we're birthing, we've talked a lot about soil, and we addressed a lot of things around regenerative agriculture, and we've talked about seed sovereignty and having seeds to grow food. I feel the conversation is moving to protecting seeds for humanity. So there's so much to this conversation, and there'll be future conversations that are involving around education and what parents can do really to preserve future of humanity. So I see you're pulling up trying to pull up one of the images maybe for tonight and other things. So that conversation is going to be really, really important. I don't know if you want to add anything to that, Sovereign, because you always have so much to say around these kinds of conversations. But I think a lot of the concerns that I'm seeing with people around the future, I know you brought up when we were talking the other day, what's happening with even us to sustain life with the blood transfusions, and looking at why people are succumbing to, even people that are aware of what's going on, succumbing to the shot, because there's this idea that we can't travel, that we can't do things that we want to do without that. And that's just not true. I mean, there are many people that are traveling around and not succumbing to the propaganda. And so I really want, one of the reasons that I'm so motivated to be migrating and moving around is just to inspire and motivate others to disrupt where they are and to know that we are sovereign, and we claim that and own that in the ways and the decisions and the way we act each and every day. So
Yeah.
you want to,
Well, here's what's on my
you
mind.
have your other thing on top of it, Sovereign. Pull that. Yeah, there we go. And I think it's the old image because Maureen's not on that one.
No. But that's what's happening tonight, and it will be a very relevant conversation. I think that is something that it's going to be live streaming to Earth Heroes TV anyways, and that's where it will be hosted, probably post. Oh, now I'm dropping off the camera view.
What are you doing, Sovereign? Sovereign, I think your being in love has disrupted your tech skills.
Oh, it's amazing. It is so good.
It's so good. I just put up there, I mean, you can go to drtenpenny.com to get it. I'll also put, I think there's another link. I'll grab that, the bit.ly link that you can go just straight to. But that is tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I'll put let me just put that in there real quick. It's going to be a very good conversation. But Sovereign, share a little bit about what your thoughts are on what's happening, because there's so much that you have to speak to around that.
Well, we benefit really being present to what's unfolding in the macro of our human ecology. And of course, we always have to bring it home to self and look within for resolution, transformation, and really what wants to be found, because the external world simply only performing a function with purpose to show us what from within still benefits resolving, and just being in the awareness that we all grew up in a Western culture that wasn't necessarily prioritizing feeling-based relating and creating space for us to properly process the intensity of our experiences. We all have experienced in our own lives levels of rejection, abandonment, shaming. And so most of us are all in some level, one way or the other, restoring that wholeness that we were actually born with. And so I see what's unfolding in the macro, in the current events on Earth, as a reflection and a mirroring. If we are emotionally triggered by these circumstances and events and these distorted fantasies, that we can look within, what is it that is so strongly reacting to that? What is so strongly coming up in me when somebody mentions something around, you may want to check out if you're going to be okay if you don't have a vaccine or the jab. And these are currently, for some people, not realities, and that is beautiful. And yet we are also part of a larger web, and some people are consciously choosing to not look at the things that are playing out because they are in a sense able to harness more of the positive and the beauty of what they are emanating out into the field. And I feel that that's beautiful. And at the same time, what is unfolding and unraveling in a rapid pace is having tremendous influence on our human family, and avoiding any opportunity for grief is really doing a disservice to ourselves. And I'm not saying that people should do anything like go look into the darkness, but I've noticed that even in our Brave New Life community, there are people that don't necessarily shy away from it, but have created some intellectualized framework, which I call spiritual bypassing, that I just sense is trigger-based responding, so that they don't actually have to feel the feelings that they're actually feeling when these subjects are being raised. And that's fine, because I'm not telling that anybody requires to go within and figure things out, because it's a very intense labor of love, so to speak. What I do see that if we do not have awareness around what is playing out in the external reality for other fellow human beings, that we may have at some point an uncomfortable surprise to still find within what is actually getting ruffled and emotionally bringing story up for us that really wants to be expressed. I see that we are in a period in our human journey where the future generations and their thrivality on a biological level is being compromised in a huge way. And I don't see that as a negative thing. I see it through this entropic lens. And so I just question the function. And I am curious what the next succession of our human biological species expression really is going to look like. And I see a tremendous bifurcation. I see, and this has been part of our westernized culture, we have been degenerated. We have become more sterile than ever. We have become more dysfunctional in terms of our health. People in the Western world are generally on some form of prescription drug. And so we have really, through this industrial mentality that has been with us, we've been industrialized ourselves, and in that process have lost our own self-sovereignty. We have lost our own, and I'm not speaking on everybody, but a lot of human beings have lost that inner connection to their own selves, their own knowing what is healthy, what is natural, how to treat the natural occurrences, even like fever in ourselves. We have opted in for a lot of repression and suppression of that through, call it, drugs. And this is all forms of coping. This is all forms of actually avoiding our underlying trauma of not having been raised in a natural awareness on how to navigate ourselves in syntropy with life. And so I see a bifurcation happening where this opportunity that is in front of us and all around us is making people look within and clear out, do their own housekeeping internally to restore themselves into that space of inner knowing what is just and what is natural, and starting to cultivate that actively in their own lives. And then there's those that have never really received the opportunity to even comprehend what we're even speaking about here. And those are the people that we are, in my perspective, and it's a limited perspective, but I do see that with the trajectory of degeneration and what I know is all happening with the shots and that sort of stuff, we're going to be losing a huge proportion of our human family in over the next 2 to 5 years, and that's something that we can remain then also, if we want to, ignorant around. But if we are willing to be aware with what's underway at the moment, we can be better prepared as our own family members, as our friends, as our beloveds are coming up with all sorts of ailments that even current medical science doesn't necessarily have any answers to, other than providing more drugs and more band-aids, which makes then, of course, the pharmaceutical companies become the great benefactor of what is kind of coined a great reset. And I feel that we have an opportunity to look at this from a place of gracefulness and willful openness to see which trajectory do we want to be on. Because there is a middle path in this, and I would say that's the path of remaining ignorant. We either awaken to the reality that we are responsible for our own navigation, and that implies no more reliancy on third-party agents in terms of wanting the government to fix something or wanting Trump to come back and save the country or save the world. This is about us stepping into our own brave new life, into our own power, into our own inner knowing, and cultivating a commitment to love and a commitment to truthful listening to ourselves. And really, if we want to live with other human beings in some form of cohesive social networking, we really want to train ourselves how to properly listen, how to really be present with one another, because the Western culture hasn't really brought that to us. That's something that I have cultivated for myself, and I call it the practice of feeling-based relating. That's what we do in Brave New Life. And it's proving to be one of the most valuable, natural, and hope-giving and resiliency restoring metrics of us as humans navigating together as a social ecology.
Yeah, and I put the link in there to invite people to join our community at bravenewlife.net. And I also put your link, Sovereign, for your course and blog if people really want to understand more about syntropy and this this ecology of relating in this way, which has been quite profound. It happened somewhat organically or syntropically, but I think that this is what we come back to. And I think you're touching on so many of, like I said, it's the most relevant conversation, because there's going to be a lot that's going to be facing humanity in the upcoming years. But this is one of the ways that we're navigating through that. And we're really focusing on the solutions and these relationships and coming back to love. I mean, that's what's so beautiful. I mean, we started this with our sharing of starting Brave New Life, birthing Brave New Life, kind of spontaneously, because that's how you operate in your sovereignty, Sovereign. But then us coming to the love that we've been really finding within ourselves, for ourselves, falling in love with ourselves individually, and how we magnified that, I think, in our coming together with one another and supporting that from across the world, and how that's led to where we are, that we've been able to invite that to receive that next level of loving into our lives, and how that's not just touching us and our families, but the bigger community. And we really like to invite everyone to, participate at whatever level. I mean, get involved in the community. We actually are working on some other things. We're going to continue having these really intense but relevant conversations, but we're also holding space for the other side of that, because I think that that's equally important as we move into this time in humanity. There's, many of you follow Oracle Girl and all of that, and sort of that removal of the slave self in the programming and what we're birthing in this new world. But I think what's really, really important to note is that we are inundated with information. We've been having a year of massive information, and we've provided a lot of that through our platform. And I think it's really time for us to get our hands in the dirt and really start building out the solutions. And many of you know, so River is part of our community and came into Brave New Life, and we've had the ability to weave our life together. And what we're working on is actually building out some of these structures for these communities. So I'll put in his website and what we're working on that's coming your way. But we're really looking to create a hemplet, because building houses with hemp that will be around the world. We had a beautiful conversation with such a beautiful soul that's part of our community in South Africa. And it just reminded me, Sovereign, of how we're all connected. And really what it comes down to is relating. And that's what the gift that you've brought me and our connection, and really imprinting this and changing not just our awareness, but even our languaging around that. So I'm so grateful for you. I'm so grateful for us. I'm so grateful for our Brave New Lives, and for everyone that's joined us on this journey, who is brave enough to step in, who continues to. And there was something else that was really important that you said, Sovereign, when we hit that wall, what happens when people do that spiritual bypassing? Because what we're really looking to do is provide the infrastructure for those who are courageous enough not to just exist right now on the planet, but actually to do that deep dive, to do that excavation, to love yourself, and in loving yourself, to find the capacity to love others. Because I think that that's really where that point we've come to with humanity is it's all love. What's the hashtag, Sovereign?
The hashtag, well, love wins is one of them.
Love wins. Yes.
Yes. Yeah, no, there are many. I have a favorite hashtag. It's called hashtag humans.
Of course.
Yeah, what I feel to just briefly speak to is what I've really been impressed with in the social experiment that I initiated called the Brave New Life community. I didn't think it would actually have legs to stand on its own and continue. I think people would drop off because they they they, they don't get it, what it's about. And I've been so in awe of what I've been asked to bring through, and then doing it, and then not having much faith in it, because I've done this for 16 years now on different levels, and I've grown and grown and grown more in my comprehension. My study is human ecology, and having learned from indigenous lifeways and indigenous teachings and peoples how beyond language the intrinsic and innate can become language. And I've retrieved metrics in that are lifeways. They're not rules, they're not structures, so to speak. What I've really sensed lately that has happened through our Brave New Life community conversations is that the level of love and acceptance that people have for those that are making choices that are not in alignment of their own life is astounding, because the level of consideration that people that, for instance, don't take this jab, that they have a choice to love those that do, or they can go into some narrative of judging that. So there's either judgment or acceptance, and love and acceptance returns us all to freedom, one way or the other. It's just, are we willing to show up for all those parts that feel vulnerable, but maybe reactive in that process? And I've been really, really impressed within our community because we're not giving any guidance. We're not telling people what to feel or how to navigate or how to be. We're just reminding everyone what we're showing up for. And it's been something that's really kind of struck me on my internal landscapes. Like, wow, I'm in awe. Because what happens when people share how they are navigating through the challenge of the emotions and the feelings to come into that loving space of acceptance that others are choosing themselves, they disconnect from a lifelong of codependency in their familial structures. They're actually, for the first time, recognizing that person is their own person, and they having their own life, and they intellectually knew that, but on an emotional level, because there's more engagement with their own internal landscape and there's more awareness on how to navigate that, they are able to set others free, but in the process they're setting themselves free.
Absolutely. Sovereign, we're at our 10 o'clock window. I know we're gonna leave this cliffhanger for people who want more of this conversation. We're supposed to be in our community conversation right now. We do this twice a week for an hour and a half, where we do what Sovereign was saying. We share our feelings and support each other from this place of love and acceptance. So if you want to get involved, go to get on our list in our community, which is growing exponentially, is bravenewlife.net. So we just want to do a quick check-in, tell you guys we're having a most fantastic love affair with life, with each other, and with all the beloveds that come into our world. And yeah, let's stay connected. We'll see you on the other side. Thanks, Sovereign.